Welcome to episode 1 of The Realm of Shadows, where we talk about myths, legends, and all the dark parts of the earth. Today I'm going to be painting Obi-Wan and Anakin and Darth Vader. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe down below for more. Skinwalkers come from a Navajo legend and are described as an evil witch with the ability to change their shape and take possession of animals or people. There is a phrase Navajos would use in their native language that translates to, quote, "With it, he goes on all fours." But how did these witches become skinwalkers? According to some, skinwalkers were once medicine men who were corrupted by their own power and turned evil. They couldn't control it, and instead it took over. Some say they were always evil people performing twisted ceremonies and rituals, not only lining the goods of medicine, but the evil, the poison, the dark side. Often they are compared to the Sith Lords in Star Wars, where they become corrupt, allowing the dark side to take over and transforming into these dark, disturbing creatures. The original soul may be still there, underneath, or maybe completely taken over. The Navajo people do not like to talk about skinwalkers to outsiders, and apparently believe that they should not be discussed at all. Almost as if the skinwalkers survive as long as they are known. Being talked about seems to draw them in, excites them. So if you find yourself camping alone, do not talk of skinwalkers. Commonly, a skinwalker might disguise itself as a coyote, but it can be anything, especially animals associated with death or bad omens. But of course, they can also take shape of the living, of humans, maybe the looks of someone you know. Not only this, but they can also possess humans and animals, walking around in their bodies. So not only can they just change into looking like a human, they can actually possess a human themselves, and an animal. But what do they look like in their true form? There are many descriptions of a skinwalker, but I think this is probably the best description that would actually make sense for a skinwalker, in my own opinion. They are described as tall, skinny creatures, like a twisted hybrid of a human and a goat. Their front legs like a praying mantis, plastered skin on top of misformed, deformed bones. Slowly rotting away, the color of bluish grey, sometimes showcasing a ribcage, but often not. Their back legs like a goat, but elongated, and almost pointed stubs as their feet, scarred and torn. Its face takes the skull of a goat, but with its plastered skin on top. Only where it is torn you can see the bone, but always, always, the most lifeless, merciless eyes. From afar like the darkest, deepest pit, never ending, soulless. But if you are ever unlucky enough to come close enough, you will see their eyes, only from the shine, their eyes black, misformed and lumpy, the plastered skin around them drooping or sagging. Though this is one more developed. Some are at different stages and still have their human-like appearance. Skinwalkers are seen throughout history, in modern times, and in many different religions, though they may be named or described differently. That's why there's many different descriptions out there, but at least to me, as I said, in my opinion, this is probably the best way to describe a skinwalker that actually makes sense. But as I said, they can be at different levels, so some are more of a human-like mix, almost changing into this type of creature I described, and others are just fully disgusting, torn, manky animals that you would not want to see in person. In any other form than their own, their behavior becomes unusual. In another form, they may even have deformities, where they weren't strong enough to transform properly. they might look a little strange. For example, if they took form as a sheep, they might have bigger feet or a longer tail, maybe even bigger teeth, and you'll usually just be able to tell with how strange they act. They have alienish behavior, some quiet and distant, others loud and strangely close to your personal space. But what you'll always notice is how uncomfortable they look inside their skin. They are almost awkward and confused, not knowing how to act as the form they have taken the shape of. Have you ever seen someone acting so weird that you wonder if they were actually human? Maybe they weren't. They have many other powers though. Not only do they shapeshift into really whatever living being they desire, they also have the ability of telepathy, voice impressions, and they can create poisonous or disease-ridden witch powder from what they learned before they became corrupted. This is also known as the magical eye. I'm not sure why it's called that. I haven't really seen any reason why, but that's one of the names for it. Coming from dark rituals, practices, cannibalism, incest, or murder, these creatures are out for the dark. Their purpose is for harm, trouble, pain, and just evil. Those who have been unlucky enough to encounter a skinwalker say they have a number of ways they try to inflict harm. Most of the time, they will attempt to lure you to them in some way. That could be a knock on your window, banging on the walls, mimicking a cry for help from a human or animal, maybe someone you might know. The sound of shuffling outside your home, anything that might send shivers down your spine or lure you towards them. Sometimes they even peer through your window, maybe out of curiosity, or maybe just to get your attention. If you are unfortunate enough to become found by a skinwalker, or encounter a skinwalker, I'm sorry to tell you, but there isn't a known way to kill them. There are theories, but nobody really knows. Supposedly, if you can learn of their true identity and pronounce its name in full, it becomes sick and dies in about 3 days. Or it just dies on the spot, apparently. But I don't really know how you would learn of its true identity, so good luck with that one. Another way is a knife or spear dipped in white ash. But as I said, that's only a theory. Your best bet if you're in the situation is to run and hide, hoping you are fast enough to get away from it, or that maybe it gets scared away, but they are fast, so it's unlikely. They also thrive on fear, gaining power and energy from the fear and weakness they might instill in you. There are apparently rituals you can even complete to get rid of them, but it is a lengthy ritual and might not work if performed incorrectly. Supposedly, a ring of sage around your house or camp will deter skinwalkers because of the smell. It is also said burning corn pollen, cedar ash, and juniper berries can deter them, but none of this is proven. They aren't necessarily the smartest, but they have very heightened senses and abilities like sight, hearing, smell, agility, and strength. So, overall, not something you want to encounter. Be sure that you've prepared in case you're ever in this situation, and well, good luck. They are one of the scariest creatures that have been talked about, and there's a high chance you have passed one without ever knowing. They're nearly impossible to kill, and there's not even any certainty that they can be killed. They're also nearly impossible to run from, so you don't really have any options. Pick up on the signals, sounds, and signs, even a small one. Don't risk it and turn back, but don't show fear.